Okay, today we're going to be taking a look at whether or not the PlayStation 4 is still worth buying and or still relevant in 2021. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start out here by doing a quick unboxing video of a PlayStation 4 Slim to see what you get in the box. So let's go ahead and open this up now. Alright, there we go. So we got some things in here, kind of hiding back here. So first thing we get is the PS4 Quick Start Guide, which has some just setup information and stuff like that. And then we have the best place to play. So now let's go ahead and pull the console itself out. I could already tell that this thing is really small compared to last generation. Let's go ahead and get this cardboard off. Alright, so now let's take a look at the accessories that are included. So, just like the original PS4, we have the mono headset that includes a microphone so you can chat with your friends. Then we have the USB cable, and then we have a 4K enabled HDMI cable, and then we have the standard power cable, and then we have the slightly redesigned PS4 controllers. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the console itself. Let's go ahead and unwrap it out of the plastic wrapping. So there is the PS4 Slim itself. So as you can already tell, the console itself is insanely thin. It's actually quite a bit thinner than the Xbox One S. Alright, so let's go ahead and now discuss whether or not if a PlayStation 4 is still worth buying in 2021 or if you should buy something else. Starting off with some reasons why the PlayStation 4 might still be worth picking up in 2021. And the first one is the PlayStation 4 Slim is the most affordable version in the PlayStation console lineup. So if you're someone that is on a budget and doesn't really have a lot of money to spend, but you're in the market for a game console, and if you're looking specifically at the PlayStation brand, the PlayStation 4 Slim is going to be your best choice. Again, because it is the most affordable option. If you were to buy this console brand new, it only costs about $300. And if you want to go on the used market, you can get it even cheaper. Well under $300. Really good for those on a budget. Secondly, there are a lot of games that have been released for the PlayStation 4, and there are also still new games being released for the PS4. So that tells you that the PS4 is indeed still relevant and is still being supported both by Sony themselves as well as third-party game developers. If you happen to buy a PS4 currently, you will get at least a few more years of support in terms of game developer support as well as support for repairs and stuff through Sony. Alright, number 3. There will be no game compatibility issues, obviously, when picking up a PlayStation 4 console. Compared to those that pick up a PlayStation 5, you might end up running into some game compatibility issues on the PlayStation 5 when trying to load up and or install certain PlayStation 4 game titles. So for those of you that want the best and most compatible experience possible currently with games, the PlayStation 4 is going to probably be your best bet. Because of the fact that the PlayStation 5 has only been out for a few months now, there are not really all that many games for it, and like I said, the game compatibility, backwards compatibility rather, with PlayStation 4 titles is good, but you still, like I said, may run into some issues. And this next point is kind of piggybacking off of the last one, and it is going back to the reliability of the console. So the PlayStation 4 has definitely proved to be a very reliable console that will last you several years of use without any issue. It's basically established itself and has worked out a lot of the bugs and the issues that had plagued it in the very beginning. At this point, the PlayStation 4 now is a very solid, reliable game console that will, again, last you for several years to come. Alright, now lastly of the points here, if you ever need to repair the console or want to repair your PlayStation 4 console, There are an abundance of very inexpensive spare parts that you can get off the internet to replace or to repair the console, because of the fact that there has been such a high volume of PlayStation 4 consoles that have been sold in the past 7 years. Basically, spare parts for them are very, very easy to find and are pretty cheap as well. Notably, just recently, my original older PS4 actually had a power supply failure, and so I went ahead and replaced that, and it only cost me, I think, around $50 in parts. That's if you do it yourself. Of course, it'll be a little bit more if you take it to a independent repair shop. All right, moving on now to some reasons why the PlayStation 4 might not be worth it for certain people. Starting off here, the obvious point being the console is now over 7 years old, so it is starting to be a pretty old game console at this point, and there is that chance that Sony and game developers could potentially make the console obsolete, and basically meaning that you will no longer be able to have support through Sony and or new games being developed for it. So that is just something to also keep in mind if you are in the market for a PlayStation 4. Alright, next up, there is a chance that, again, piggybacking off of the last point, that new games may no longer be made for the PS4 sooner than later, because of the fact that developers are now heavily more focused on developing for the next-gen consoles, that being the PlayStation 5 as well as Xbox One X. There's no real way in telling how long that might be until the PlayStation 4 becomes obsolete and until games no longer are developed for it. There's no real way to find that out until that day just suddenly comes and then no more games are being made for it. You kind of have to juggle that fact. Is it worth getting a relatively old game console with the possibility of losing support? Another thing that might be a turnoff for certain people is the fact that the PlayStation 4 only supports up to 1080p resolution. So for those of you that want to play games in 4K or higher resolution, or something higher than 1080p, you're going to be out of luck here, because this console, I'm not even sure if it supports 1080-60. I believe it only supports up to 1080p 30 frames a second. So again, you're going to be out of luck if you're wanting to do anything higher than 1080p. And for those of you that do want to game in 4K or higher, you're going to have to upgrade and invest in either a PlayStation 4 Pro or a PlayStation 5. Both of those consoles will get you 4K gaming. Okay, lastly, the PlayStation 4 may just in general not be worth it to you if you have a little bit of extra cash to spend. So if you have that little extra leeway in terms of your budget, I would highly recommend actually investing your extra money into a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox One X, because those are the next gen consoles currently, and they are going to be supported for many, many, many years, and there's going to be lots and lots of new games being developed for it. And you'll also get that support from Sony and or Microsoft in terms of repair and warranty support. That's something to keep in mind if your budget allows it, because the PlayStation Slim costs about $300 new, and the standard edition of the PlayStation 5 only costs about $500, so only about $200 more than a PlayStation 4 Slim. Really not that much of an increase in terms of money. You kind of have to weigh that into your purchasing decision, again, if your budget allows it. If your budget does not allow it and you just want a very simple, reliable game console and you're not worried about the console becoming obsolete and you don't really worry about online gaming too much and this and that, the PlayStation 4 is going to be hands down your best option. But for those that want more or higher resolutions or want longer support for the console, the PlayStation 5 is going to be a better bet for that person. So now, the last big question would be, should you buy a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One? Because the Xbox One is Microsoft's equivalent to the PlayStation 4. So the answer to that really comes down to buyer preference, and ultimately what the buyer and or ultimately comes down to what the buyer prefers in terms of games that are released for that particular console, as well as the software and or hardware relating to the game console. I really can't answer that for you. That is totally up to you guys. You guys would have to do your research on that. Me personally, my preference is PlayStation. It just always has been. I of course own essentially all the consoles. I have an Xbox One. I have Nintendo consoles. I've got, you name it. So I'm not stuck to one brand, but my preferred branded game console is the PlayStation. If I were to be buying and or playing on a console frequently. So yeah, that's basically it for this video. I hope this helped you guys out with your purchase decision. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. It helps out the channel greatly. Hit that thumbs up button as well. That just lets me know that you guys are enjoying my videos. And drop a comment below if you need any help or have questions or anything along those lines. I'll be sure to try to answer and reply to as many of you as possible. With that all being said, hope you guys have enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.